Good afternoon. Hey, everybody. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome to Friday Eve or Friday Junior, whichever you want to feel like today. Um, super excited about today's conversation. For those who don't know me yet, my name is Ellen Parker. I am the host of the Programmatic Digest podcast and the Programmatically Correct live series show. I'm also the Chief Programmatic Sensei of Ellen Parker Consulting, where we offer programmatic media training solutions for our clients. We train buyers, we train ad ops, we train account executives, we train recruiters about the beauty and magical world of programmatic media. So that's what I do. So part of having the Programmatically show and part of having this show today is to make sure we share some knowledge and pour into our community. So in the last couple of weeks, what we've done is really hone in and exactly um, focus on the different type of programmatic targeting. So on Monday, we did not go live because we were attending the Programmatic IO conference in New York. Shout out to Ad Exchangers for hosting us after 2 years, first live event. But before that, last week we talked about behavioral targeting. So if you have any question about behavioral targeting or audience-based targeting, which includes first, second and third party data targeting, including lookalike modeling and predictive, feel free to reach out to me to get the content or just have any questions. And also, I'll strongly recommend that you go onto our YouTube channels where we have all the recordings and all the good stuff. So, in today's conversation, we're going to talk about location-based targeting. It's going to be a nice, short, and sweet presentation. So, I'm going to share my screen. So, hi, Instagram. If you are joining, I am going to share my screen really briefly to talk about the difference in location-based targeting in programmatic media advertising. So, obviously, you already know some of them. Let me remove this filter. There you go. You already know some of them. Geographical targeting, geofencing targeting, and a combination of here and there. So we're gonna go ahead and take the next maybe 4 or 5 minutes to identify best practices for each of those location-based targeting, and then talk about the do's and don'ts. I do want to preface that when you speak about those location-based targeting, it's super important to understand that it needs to be in combination of something. We're in 2021. You should no longer be running a run of exchange or run of network tactic. Please, this is my venting of the day. Run of network or run of exchange means that you only have a city or a geographical area selected in your targeting or in your tactic or in your line item, and then you're running to target everybody in that region. No, let's never do that. That is why on the board, I'm on the screen right now, you're seeing geographical, geofencing, and combination. Combination here means when you're using any of those audiences, most likely you have to layer an audience. You have to layer some other targeting characteristic, okay? So the first one we're going to talk about today is geographical targeting. Very simple. You already know the deal. Geographic targeting means you can target based on zip codes, cities, states, region, countries. Let me just also preface that there are cases where you can even target larger by region on a continent. You can target even smaller down to a neighborhood. That's when we'll probably talk about geofencing in a few minutes. So geographical targeting is just that simple. A list of zips, cities, states, regions, countries, you name it. Geofencing is also known as proximity targeting. So geofencing will spend a little bit more time on today. Leveraging real-time mobile location to boost foot traffic. That's really important to know. So the best practices when it comes to geofencing is going back to your KPI. What are we trying to do? What are our main KPI? Secondly, based on the KPI that you're trying to get, who are the audiences? Where are they hanging out? Geofencing is very, very location based. Again, and geofencing is a proximity targeting strategy. What we mean by that is that we're using mobile devices to target and identify if we should serve that message to the audience or not. So that's very specific. Best practices when it comes to geofencing is you need to partner with a mobile targeting partner. I've worked with Simplify, I've worked with S4M, which is also European based. S4M is Reveal Mobile, which is also local to Raleigh, North Carolina. Well, they're based here, but again, they're on an international level. Okay, they don't only work here. You have to be as concise as possible when it comes to geofencing. It's literally most use cases when it comes to geofencing, you're trying to target a building or a very strict neighborhood or a block of people and target them with a message. Now, there are two cases when it comes to, is it two or three? It's three cases. Okay. So here's how I'll walk you through a few case studies and where I've worked with geofencing targeting partners. In the automotive world, we've had clients competitively target audiences or consumers walking in their competitor store. So in a dealership that's, I don't know, selling BMW and your Mercedes, for instance. So that's a great way to implement competitive geofencing. You're trying to gather everybody that walking within those dealerships and then retarget them offsite. Geofencing is very mobile and device based. That means that if the person is not allowing you to track their location, then you're not able to capture them into your retargeting pool or into that rich geofencing user pool. That's a note. Next thing I want to mention as well is it works really well in any industry, but I've specifically tested it recently in a B2B industry. Well, not recently, pre-pandemic recently, in a B2B where the client was trying to target professional attending this conference. And so we target them, we geofence the conference venue, we geofence some of the parking lot, and then we also geofence nearby hotels. Now, this strategy was to target professionals that were attending the conference. So if you are going to geofence like nearby hotels, you have to know that indeed those people may not all attending to the those people in the hotel may not all be attending the conference. So there's that caveat as well. We were able to eliminate some of those people or try as much as possible by suppressing the audience to certain audiences and having certain type of frequency capping. That's that. So back to geofencing strategies. It's a great strategy for your competitive strategy. It's a great strategy to push foot traffic on the screen. I'm sharing again Instagram. If you are joining, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're talking about programmatic media strategies this month. Specifically today is location-based targeting. We went over geographical targeting, and now we're talking about geofencing. Best practices when it comes to geofencing is to be as close to the proximity as possible. It's not a few miles around this area. It's not, it's not like 0.5 miles around. It's literally you will have to like draw around that location. That's what geofencing is all about. It is not a tactics for the millions of impressions. It's a specific tactic to make sure you're increasing your foot traffic or driving to store. You're doing competitive conquesting, targeting your competitive customers walking into their stores, retargeting them with an ad so that they can come back and walk into your stores, mostly offering a discount, mostly offering a special message for those. And then it works. Recently, in the last couple of years, we've discovered that geofencing have been testing very closely with other targeting tactics, such as audience targeting or digital out of home, so programmatic out of home. I read an article back in July for Hennessy. It was Hennessy Apple launching their Hennessy Apple bottle, I guess, and it was somewhere in England or the UK. And the test was that everybody that was walking by the digital out of home board in that particular area were targeted, were captured in that geofence and retargeted with a message. But the cool thing is that they got really creative, and then throughout summer, or that particular month in summer, they were just spraying apple scent. So this is just the beauty about programmatic media. It's just the beauty about collaborating with other partners in the industry that are expert to be creative and to be testing new things. So Hennessy Apple was able to have a digital out of home board, lay over geofencing, so we're able to capture everybody. And again, you don't control the customer's eyeball, or the clients, or the person that's walking by eyeball. So maybe they didn't even smell the apple. But the reality is that it's a cool test to do. Now they have some more data they can share. Now they have some bomb creativity touch points that they can now implement in future strategy. So that's just the beauty of programmatic media as a general, but specifically to geofencing. You can combine the tactic with audience targeting or digital out of home. Um, when using, and I'll end with this, when using location-based targeting and geofencing partners, I actually have this case study that I usually share. It's an S4M case study, and you can find them on their website. But it was a case study that they did with Subway in Paris, about how when people were in X amount of meters, like I think it was 500 meters away from the subway location, they were targeting and geofencing those walking consumers into coming in, like, and serving a quick ad, letting them know, like, you're literally here and we're here. So the creative itself was serving a message with a small map: you're here, come here. And it was very easy to get. And if you come, here's 10% with on your next purchase or on your purchase. So that's just to show another type of example of how you can really leverage creative messaging with programmatic tactics such as like geofence. So if you're interested in finding out, seeing this case study, again, it's from S4M, S, the number 4, and then the letter M. And you can easily find their Paris subway case study. And yes, it's in English. Okay, guys. So that's really cool. And I really wanted to share this because I just like to give different type of options to the client that I like to train. So that was it. That's all we wanted to chat about today. The next month, again, we want to make sure to cover different type of programmatic tactics. And I see a question on Instagram. Geofencing is heavily reliant on mobile. Yes, that's correct. And needs to be considered as part of a user behavior for audience around these beacons. Yes. So geofencing is heavily related to mobile. So I think, thank you for the question, because you bring a good point, because there is a whole lot going on with iOS, and we'll get to talk about iOS in the next month or so. So be careful, be mindful of that. And I didn't mention at the beginning of the call, the live, that geofencing targeting is great complementing your current strategy. You're just trying to diversify the way you reach your audience. And so I gave the example of Subway. We're serving an ad specific to that person within that vicinity, literally within that 500 meter or less, actually 250 meter proximity of the store, serving the consumer, saying, hey, if you're hungry, we're literally here, like on a clear map, and here's like an additional incentive of a certain amount of discount on your first purchase. Boom. So that's very much like, but that's not the whole strategy. They still have retargeting on the back end. You're still able to retarget every single user that you have captured within that pool of that geofence pool, and you can use those devices into your DSP or load them into the DSP and use them as lookalike modeling. You can use them as retargeting. So you can do a lot of magical things with this. So that's a great point. Use it as a part of your strategy. Don't make sure it's all of your strategy. And if you think if it is all of your strategy, then make sure you're not just, for instance, not just targeting one subway shop. You're targeting a bunch of them. So In recap, this conversation was all about location-based targeting. We talk about geographical, we talk about geofencing, we talk about best practices, and the do's and don'ts when it comes to adding geofencing targeting into your programmatic media strategy. I'm Ellen Parker. I am your programmatic media coach, the host of the Programmatic Digest podcast, and this show, The Programmatically Correct, which is a live social series on Monday and Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time for now. Before we end every sessions, I like to leave everyone with a word of wisdom because we're no robots. This is advertising. We're not saving lives, despite what industry thinks. So I'm going to challenge you to continue your education on your own. Okay, this is a great way to stay to learn a little bit more about programmatic media and the industry and what it is all about, because we review literally some fundamentals like different type of targeting. But I challenge you to read an article every day from in your read an article every day in your industry and write about it. Post it on social media so that the fact that you've read and written what you remember about what you just read will help you remember it past 24 hours. Um, in the Programmatic Meetup, which is a community where programmatic ninjas, adapts, data analysts all meet. We meet twice a month for about an hour on Wednesdays afternoon, and we talk shop, right? Because we know what's going on in the campaigns. We're the one doing most of that setup and onboarding work when it comes to campaign media campaigns management. And so I challenged the group to read one article every day, 7 days a week. Okay, because your education don't stop, don't take vacations, like it's continuous. So read an article from your industry, something that interests your heart, once a day, and write about it and post it, because somebody needs to hear about it. Somebody needs to hear about what you've learned. So I'll leave you with that. I challenge you to read an article a day. I challenge you to post it on LinkedIn, on Instagram, whichever you are. And I challenge you to tag me on it. Even if you're not in a programmatic media world, I'd love to read what you're learning. And I love to continue learning as a whole. This is just my life goal anyway. So thank you so much. I will see you on Monday. Monday, we're talking contextual based targeting, y'all. You're going to like this one. It's going to be a good one. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.